Hey guys, what's going on? It's your boy, the Mad Kiger. And up here today, guys, I am actually going to be doing a list of, well, my top, well, what I'm going to do, sorry, is all 11 Star Wars movies in order, which are my favourite. So all 11, yes, there were 11, yeah, remember when there was 3, remember when there was 6, now there's 11 Star Wars films. 12 if you count the Clone Wars TV show and any other like long animated episode, but I didn't count that in this one because I really thought that is more of a pilot episode to the TV show. I do like the Clone Wars and I do like Rebels. I haven't seen Resistance or any of the other animated ones, the Lego Star Wars ones, so Star Wars is huge. And the reason I'm doing this today, I don't have any like physical references. Sorry, it's all talking today. I have wrote down a list so I know which ones are in order, so I don't go off on one. These aren't reviews; these are just my personal opinions on which are my favourite ones. So obviously the top 3 are the ones that I've seen the most and would watch over and over again, whereas the lower ones are the ones that I maybe only seen a couple of times. And stuff like that. And I wanted to do that for the channel. I wanted to try and branch back out to movies and TV shows for the channel. And of course, let me know in the comments below if you don't want that, if you just want me to focus on video games. But I've always prided myself on, variety to the channel. We're covering physical media, as well as digital media and TV and stuff. And obviously, I do watch a lot of TV and films and stuff as well. And because I've got a huge collection and every subscription service going, Netflix, Amazon, Disney Plus, all of these subscription services, I make use of them, of course. But anyway, let's get straight into the order. At number 11, we have The Last Jedi. I'm going to be completely honest with you. When I seen The Last Jedi, I don't hate any of these movies in any way. Just because it's at the lowest, you got to put one at the lowest. I like anything Star Wars. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, so anything Star Wars I like. But The Last Jedi for me just sort of like felt like it really went off on the deep end kind of thing. When they announced that there was going to be 3 new movies, very hype and stuff like that. And The Last Jedi did have some pretty cool scenes, the whole training scene with Rey and Luke Skywalker, and I think, if I remember rightly, Yoda was in there as well. I can't remember. That's what I mean. That's the perfect example of The Last Jedi. I really don't remember too much about it because there are certain things about it that just don't stick out. It was cool, the whole, Rey training scene and stuff like that, and it was kind of understandable, she was trying to train and stuff, but there was the whole battle with the walkers and stuff, and I just felt like Rise of the Last Jedi was just copying so much from the Empire Strikes Back. In fact, all of the sequel trilogy films, just in my opinion, copy so much from the original trilogy. It's unbelievable. There were some stupid scenes like when they were in the palace and there's one of the guard that has Rey and he had 2 swords when fighting her, and then all of a sudden he's got her and then this other sword just disappears. There's no explanation for it. The whole thing with, Kylo Ren striking down Snoke, and Snoke just being killed off, Of course, we found out who Snoke was in Rise of Skywalker, but to me, it just sort of felt like they really mismatched too much, and I don't really remember too much about it. But at number 10, we have The Force Awakens. The reason it's above Rise of Skywalker is because I remember when we knew that there was a new Star Wars coming out. I was hyped. And that's what this movie really did for me. I had a lot of hype behind it. And, there were some pretty fun scenes in the movie. The whole Han Solo dying scene. I'm so sorry if that's a spoiler, but the movie's been out for a long time now. So, and I guess that's why it's above The Last Jedi for me, is because that scene is quite memorable, killing off a major character. And The Last Jedi did that whole thing with Princess Leia when she goes out into space and comes back. I thought that was ridiculous. I just thought like it was a laughing joke. The Force Awakens had that whole scene with the Rathar in the ship. You know, that was really like it was like a Benny Hill kind of thing, or you know, like a Laurel and Hardy or Three Stooges concept. You know, when they're running away from something. It just seemed to me like it weren't that interesting. It was kind of a mixed match. But The Force Awakens did do a pretty good job of trying to bring Star Wars back to the modern generation. And, you know, but the reason where I felt like it really disappointed is, again, it was so much like A New Hope. The whole, you know, there's this new person, she's a Jedi, and, you know, she's got force powers, and you know, the whole blowing up the giant, basically Death Star 3.0, I guess, Star Killer base, and it just seems so much like the original film. And another reason I hated on The Last Jedi is because what they did to Captain Phasma. You know, they really messed up with Captain Phasma. She was, you know, when I first saw her in the trailer, I thought, oh my god, this chrome-plated stormtrooper, you know, and she was going to be this awesome character, and then they just killed her off so stupidly, you know what I mean? And again, in The Force Awakens, the whole thing where we thought Finn was going to be the Jedi, but it weren't. It was Rey. So Force Awakens had a little bit more going for it, in my opinion, than The Last Jedi, and it's a little bit more memorable. At number 9, we have Solo. I'm going to be honest with you. When I first watched Solo, I thought it was pretty good. When I rewatched it, I just felt like the movie. Don't get me wrong, I love Han Solo as a character, and it was obvious they were going to do a Solo movie. The moment they killed off Han Solo, we knew we were going to get a Solo movie. Although it would have been nice to have an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie first, you know what I mean? But that's going to be a TV show. Solo, I thought was a pretty good movie. But the problem is it doesn't feel like a Star Wars movie. You know, there's not really any lightsabers in there. It feels more like you're watching a mixed match. It's got like some Western elements in there at times. It's got like the heists, you know, the whole the part when they're in the mud planet at the beginning. It reminds me of like a World War One theme going on there. And I do like that they tried to implement all of these different styles into Star Wars. It just doesn't feel too much like a Star Wars film, and to be honest, I kind of like that because it went away from the norm. You know, it weren't trying to just copy anything else. It was trying to be a unique movie. You know, Han Solo's backstory, you know, the Darth Maul scene at the end, that really got me. I was like, oh my god, Darth Maul. I knew he was still around at the time, obviously, because he was in Star Wars Rebels and Star Wars The Clone Wars, but to see him in the movie, I was like, whoa, you know, the whole that scene. It was a pretty fun movie. I do like it, and it's just something different in the Star Wars universe. You know, you can focus on that sort of smuggling aspect. You know, seeing young Lando Calrissian, how Han Solo and Chewbacca became friends, all of that stuff. Really good movie, but it just doesn't hold up as well as some of the other Star Wars movies. At number 8, I put Rise of Skywalker. And the reason I put Rise of Skywalker is I've only seen this film once in the cinema. I haven't rewatched it yet. But I do actually remember enjoying it. Although I've seen like the original script or like some of the original concept, and I thought, oh my god, that would have been so much better. I still liked Rise of Skywalker because although they did tease you a lot with characters dying, you know, the whole Chewbacca being blown up and he wasn't in the ship and all of that. And, you know, the whole, you know, seeing some of the new characters, you know, seeing... what got me was the ending. The last, like, 40 minutes or 30 minutes of Rise of Skywalker, I thought was really good. You know, the whole battle on the ships, you know, Emperor Palpatine. It was nice to see Emperor Palpatine come back. You know, it really left a lot of questions as well. And I like when some films do that because, you know, you question a lot of fan theories come out and comic books and all of these expansions on that. And the whole scene when, you know, they're doing that, you've got all of these ships with basically Death Star cannons on them. And then all of the rebel ships come in. You know, the whole Princess Leia scene dying as well. I felt like it was sad. And it was obvious it was going to happen, you know. But it was... I felt like Rise of Skywalker was the best out of the three sequel trilogies, and I'll have to rewatch it at some point. I'm going to have to rewatch all of the Star Wars films, and this list might change, but I felt like Rise of Skywalker was a much better film than the previous sequel trilogies, but not by loads, if you know what I'm saying. But it was definitely better in the long run. It had some sort of questions, oh my god, why is Rey, Palpatine and stuff like that. But again, you get to see Rey go back to Tatooine and bury in the two lightsabers, and she had this orange lightsaber, the yellow lightsaber. So it had some pretty cool, memorable moments in it. At number 7, we have Attack of the Clones. I'm going to be honest with you, as much as I love the Clone Wars, I felt like Attack of the Clones was... I enjoyed it, but it was probably my least favourite of the sequel, the prequel trilogies. Mainly because, it... Obviously, it was trying to go to showing off Anakin slowly going to the dark side, the whole him killing all the Tusken Raiders, and, the whole... obviously him being arrogant, but I do remember enjoying it, the Jango Fett scene. There were some problems with the movie. I felt like Jango Fett, got killed off too easily. I do like the whole scene when they're in the arena. That was a pretty fun scene. The giant battle on Geonosis. And then, obviously, at the end of the movie, you see in the Clone Wars, and then, Anakin and Padme getting married, the whole love scene going on there. But yeah, Attack of the Clones, number 7. At number 6, this might surprise a lot of people, Phantom Menace. Now, the Phantom Menace is probably the movie that gets so much hate. But I remember watching this film as a kid and loving it. And you know what? When I went and rewatched it in the cinema when they did the 3D version, I remember watching it and thinking, you know what? I actually like this movie. It introduced us to the Jedi, the droids, how they all began. Young Obi-Wan Kenobi, young Anakin Skywalker. Obviously, it was all about Anakin going into Darth Vader, of course. It was really hinted at when you see him coming down the steps in the, what's his name? Watto's, scavenger hut. If you actually look carefully, you actually see Darth Vader's helmet in the shadow. Some people debunk this as just a lighting effect. Other people said no, it was actually meant to be there. I don't know, but I really enjoyed the pod racing scene as a kid, and that's why I put it at number 5. Sorry, at number 6 is because I really remember loving that film. I know Jar Jar gets a lot of hate, but I thought he was hilarious as a kid, and that's what I like about Phantom Menace. It has a lot of nostalgia for me because it was one of the first Star Wars films I had ever watched, and it just, for me, although, it did have everything to it. It had the space battles, it had the big battle on the planet Naboo, it had some politic parts in there, the lightsaber battles. And of course, Darth Maul was probably one of the most awesome characters as a kid. I thought, oh my god, that double-edged lightsaber. That was amazing, At number 5, we have Return of the Jedi. I love the original trilogy, and don't get me wrong, I don't hate on the original trilogy. Like I said, these aren't in any hate order. These are just in how I rate them myself. But Return of the Jedi, for me, although it did wrap up the series nicely, the original trilogy nicely, I just sort of weren't a massive fan of the whole Ewok section. I thought the Ewoks were a bit, it's like the whole Cowboys versus Indians thing, they're being like the spears and the bows and the logs and things against this giant army of mechanized walkers and stormtroopers with lasers and blasters, But I still thought it was ridiculous that they were that bad that they got beaten by a bunch of teddy bears, Of course, the final fight with Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker is always going to be one of the most memorable Star Wars moments, the green lightsaber. Of course, the Han Solo coming back, and obviously the at the beginning of the movie when they're on those barges, and it is a really good movie. Don't get me wrong, I love Return of the Jedi. I just felt like Return of the Jedi was my least favourite of the original trilogy, and that's not saying much because they are all amazing. At number 4, we have Rogue One. Yes, Rogue One, in my opinion, is probably the best modern Star Wars film they had ever done. Even though it's technically not part of the original like movie. What I loved about Rogue One is, even though I'm more of an Empire guy, Rogue One was a great movie because, you know, it explained how they got the Death Star planned, and that amazing scene with Darth Vader at the end, you know, it still gives me chills to this day, you know, the, oh God, we gotta run, get away. That was amazing, you know, and that was the first time we ever seen Darth Vader really do anything crazy in the movies. Of course, in the shows he gives some, and comics he does some amazing stuff, but in the movie to see him like just wipe out just, you know, all of these rebels, it was amazing, you know. And the whole you know, what I loved about the movie is that every character pretty much dies in it, you know. You know, there was the digitalized, you know, Grand Moff Tarkin and the Princess Leia. It was nice to see them again. That was my only downfall, is that they digitalized version, but again, it makes sense, you know, because at that time they would have been young. It would have made sense to have, you know, like an old Carrie Fisher in that movie, and, you know, like an even older Peter Cushing, you know. So, and, you know, I think Rogue One just did a great job. It embodied what was great about the original movies and made it more modernized, gave it some great action sequences. It definitely had some humor to it, you know. K2SO was pretty funny, and, you know, it was great seeing all of these, you know, before the Death Star got blown up. And, you know, that movie pretty much ends about 15 minutes before New Hope starts. So it's really, really well done. I thought it was just a great movie. It just took everything that was great about Star Wars and focused on an action. It had some tiny bit of politics in it, but, you know, the whole story of, you know, in the movies, you know, oh, Bothan spies got this for us. It doesn't actually make sense because the Bothan spies didn't. It was Rogue One, and, you know, they were the whole Suicide Squad. So I thought Rogue One was an amazing film, and if I'm gonna recommend any modern Star Wars film to anyone, Rogue One is the one to watch. At number 3, we have my favourite of the prequel trilogy, Revenge of the Sith. Okay, so I remember watching Revenge of the Sith in the cinema with my friend and going, oh my God, this was amazing, you know. The previous prequel films were kind of a mixed match, and a lot of people say the same thing, is they actually like Revenge of the Sith but hate the other two movies. And it's understandable, because Revenge of the Sith was just a great movie because it had all of this tension building up, you know, the whole Darth Sidious being revealed, you know, Anakin becoming Darth Vader, you know, it has all those memes, you know, what have I done? I hate sand, all of that stuff. You know, the whole killing the younglings. Of course, we don't see that, but it was implied, and obviously he does that. You know, it took a lot of chances, and in my opinion, it has the best Star Wars fight scene in any of the Star Wars movies, the Anakin Obi-Wan battle. It was so well choreographed, of course. Looking back on it, it is a little bit cheesy in some senses, but for the time, it was really well done, and we had never seen a lightsaber battle like that, you know, seeing two blue lightsabers fight against each other. And, you know, the whole Darth Vader rising up and coming out in his, you know, mechanized suit. You know, it just did a great job, you know, seeing Luke and Leia being born, you know, how they got separated. And it was an essential movie to the story, I think. And it just, in my opinion, it just had the greatest of the original, the prequel trilogy, and of course I had the game as well, which was awesome. At number 2, I had to put it A New Hope, or just Star Wars. Remember when it was just called Star Wars? 1977. I had to put New Hope at number 2 because it's the movie that made Star Wars, you know. If it weren't for this movie, there would be no Star Wars. And the New Hope just had everything going for it. You know, it just such a nostalgic movie, such a classic movie. The Death Star run, the Luke Skywalker on the Tatooine planet, standing up on the hills, looking at the 2 moons. Or I think there were 2 moons or 2 suns, whatever. The music, the Obi-Wan with Darth Vader, the Death Star, you know, running away from the Death Star, the Stormtrooper hitting his head, you know, that whole joke, you know, it did such a great job, because even though, and what's great about A New Hope is because, yes, technically, if you want to watch the Star Wars films in order, you start with a Phantom Menace, but even if you don't do that, and you watch them in chronological, in time order when they come out, A New Hope still works as a great movie, because even though it's episode 4, it works as a great movie, because if you've never watched the prequel trilogies, it doesn't matter, because these are characters if you've never watched any of the Star Wars movies and you watch A New Hope first, it just introduces all of these characters, and then you've got room to work on what happened before that, and then you've got room to work on what happened after that. And at number 1, my all-time favourite Star Wars film, The Empire Strikes Back. I can't talk enough about The Empire Strikes Back. You know, the beginning of the film, it starts off on this snow planet. You've got these giant AT-AT walkers, Darth Vader coming through, slowly coming through the temples. The Luke Skywalker taking down one of these walkers, having to get out before he gets crushed, jumping up into one with his lightsaber. The Wampa in the ice cage, and he cuts his arm off. Going to Dagobah, seeing Yoda, learning the ways of the Force, finding out Darth Vader was his father. The Bespin when Han Solo gets taken away by Boba Fett. The betrayal by Lando Calrissian. This movie had it all. And what I love about Empire Strikes Back is it doesn't actually have a lot of politic parts in it. It's very focused on the thrill, the action, and it has so many memorable moments about it. I could go on talking about Empire Strikes Back for ages, because it's my favourite Star Wars film. I just love it. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because of the whole Darth Vader, I am your father scene. No, I am your father. He doesn't say Luke. Everyone thinks he says Luke. He said, no, I am your father. It was such a memorable film, and it had an emotional part to it. Luke, Leia saying, oh, I love you, to fucking Han Solo. I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I could be wrong. Some people say the original is better than The Empire Strikes Back. But like I said, this video isn't about me talking about what I think are the best Star Wars films. These are my personal opinions. And I'm going to do videos like this from now on. I'm going to do some more list videos, some of my favourite films, favourite games, stuff like that. I'm going to write them down in this book, because I've got this book here, so I know which ones I was talking about, so I didn't lose track. Because if I do it all by memory, I'll probably forget. Of course, I want to do another one. I want to do is the Marvel Cinematic Universe one, but I'll have to watch all 23 films and see which ones are my favourites. That would be more of a harder one to do, but definitely one that I'd want to do. I do want to do a review on BoJack Horseman, upcoming maybe this week sometime, because I feel like that show needs to get some attention from me, because I absolutely love it. And now that I'm finally on season 6 after rewatching the whole show again, and should hopefully finish it tonight before I'm going to start Rick and Morty next. I've seen the original 3 series, but season 4 is now on Netflix. I'm going to rewatch season 1, 2 and 3 before getting to 4, give myself a refresher. So there are a lot of shows that I want to talk about, and movies I want to talk about. But again, I need to know in the comments below if you guys want me to talk about movies and TV shows, or do you just want me to focus on games? As much as I love my games, don't get me wrong, it's nice to talk about things that I watch, because they're the 2 primary sources of media that I have. Games and movies and TV shows, and of course Netflix, all of that good stuff. And there's so many shows that I can talk about. I've watched so many shows in this past, and I could talk about all these different things. I do want to do an Only Fools and Horses video maybe one day, because I've got a lot to say about that show. So yeah. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Feel free to leave a like if you did. Comment below. Let me know your list of Star Wars films. Have you seen them all? Which ones do you love? Which ones do you hate? Maybe give me your order. I'd like to know. If you've never seen Star Wars, then this video isn't for you. But again, I thought I'd do this. Years ago I did a top Star Wars moments video, so I guess this is my list of Star Wars films. So I had to feel like I had to do that again. And of course, guys, feel free to subscribe if you haven't already. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and now Twitch at The Mad Kygo. If you noticed, I have now uploaded my streams. Yes, because I am now back on Twitch, I can now export all of my Twitch streams to my YouTube channel. So if you do miss out on the streams live, they will be on my YouTube channel for watching. I really should watch them to make sure that I'm not saying or doing anything I shouldn't be. I am quite good at trying to be as PC as possible, but of course when I'm playing Overwatch with my friend or something, we're gonna have a lot of swearing and piss taking and messing around. So, you know, it happens. But I won't be streaming tonight. I'm going to spend the night with my partner. I think we're going to watch Saw. I'm going to rewatch the Saw trilogy. So that might be another upcoming movie talking about some movies as well. The Saw, I said trilogy. There's 8 Saw movies and there's meant to be a new one. But anyway, guys, as always, have a nice day and I will see you in the next video. Take care and bye-bye.